All right. We've been working with grids now for the first half of the semester. You've worked with active and inactive grids. You've worked with formal and informal grids. You've worked with intuitive grids. So you've worked with a lot of different kinds of grids, and hopefully you've learned that a grid is a really useful and in some ways awesome tool for keeping your content organized. So this next project is going to take your grid design to a whole new level. We're going to start studying the dynamic grid. The dynamic grid is really more of a process than it is a grid, in that you can design your design intuitively, and then you can design the grid around your intuitive design. So that makes it a really unique way of approaching design. It allows you a lot of flexibility. It allows you a lot of interesting ways of handling your content, and most of all, the dynamic grid is something that no one else knows how to use. It's a tool that I developed in graduate school, and I've never seen anything like it out there in the field. So when you use the dynamic grid, your work's going to look really well organized. It's going to look structured. It's going to look really cool, but it's not going to look like any other grid. And that's going to set you apart in the world of designers who are out there looking for work, and also in the designers that are creating professional work. You're going to be standing out amongst the crowd, and that's really what we really need to do in this industry. So in the project, what we're going to do then is we're going to take the content from your last three projects, and you're going to create three chapters in a promotional book, if you will. And you're going to use the dynamic grid to unify all of the content. Now, each chapter is a different project, and you're going to design a different dynamic grid for each chapter. The reason I want you to do this is because I want you to practice working with this tool. It's a very complex tool. It can be, as any grid and as any tool, it takes practice to get good at it, but it's also easy to do badly because you need to understand how to work with the different aspects of developing the grid in the first place. And this just takes practice. And so then once the grid is designed, then you'll have a chance to work with it as a grid in an active manner. The dynamic grid works best in an active format. And by practicing, you'll have the skills to use the grid in the final project, which is really our capstone project. But more on that in the next project. For now, I want you to practice working with the process of developing the grid. So you're going to take all of the content that you created, all of the roughs, the drafts, the iterations that you created. You're going to also grab textual content that could have been from the comments on your albums on the website. It could be from my website, from the project sheet. It could also be your content where you might be writing about your experiences in the project, what you liked about it, what you didn't like about it, what you learned, and so on. So basically, you're going to create some written content, and then you're going to combine that with all of the visuals that you created for the project, and that's going to be the content for one chapter. And then in the second chapter, you'll take project 2, and you'll do the same thing. And in the same manner, you will take the content from project 3. You'll write the same idea, that kind of thing. And then you will create a new grid for chapter 3. And this way you'll have a chance to sort of play around with the ways that it can be used. It's a very fluid process. And like I said, it just takes practice to get good at it. So that's the story of this project. And this will set you up for success for the final project, which is a big deal. All right, so let's start working with this project. Let's loosen up, shake it out, explore the possibilities, and let's have some fun.